It's Thursday, September 19th, 2024, and I'm day weather meteorologist Don Watson with your daily day weather podcast. Cruising through the final days of summer 2024, and we will continue to see fairly mild late summer, early fall conditions. Warmer than average temperatures ongoing over the high plains, including the Dakotas and Nebraska, down towards Kansas and the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles. Meanwhile, cooler than average readings persist not too far from average, about 4 to 7 degrees or so across the western Rockies and the Great Basin. Our next weather system is still off the west coast, being stalled by a southern plains ridge that, in the meantime, will give us beautiful sunshine over much of the region. However, we're still on schedule for areas of heavy rain as that trough advances eastward. Temperatures will trend cooler as we cross over into fall Sunday morning. Then we'll trend a little drier early next week once that system passes towards the Great Lakes. Well, here's a nice snapshot of the northern lights near Lake Owen in Albany County, taken and submitted to us by Jim Alexander while he was camping recently. Beautiful photo during a clear sky and the full moon. Well, as we look at the continued ongoing evolution of our forecast the next few days, a nice late season ridge centered over the southern plains near New Mexico through Texas and the Arklatex region, providing for a nice southwesterly flow ahead of our next trough, which is still kind of gaining its bearings over the west coast and the southern California region. As we go towards the start of the weekend, that trough will start to gain ground. High pressure will amplify over the open waters of the Pacific, which will help move that trough towards the Four Corners and nudge the southern plains ridge a little further east towards the Gulf Coast. As we move into Sunday morning, this is the forecasted position of the storm system, which will be near the Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska triple point. Now, it's not looking to be a cold system per se, but it should be an energetic one. And as it continues to advance east and move the southern plains ridge further into the Gulf Coast, it will tap into a late season surge of some subtropical moisture. And here's a time loop of the forecasted moisture content as that storm arrives. It'll tap into the subtropics, crossing the Four Corners and providing for a deep and moist air mass right where some of the heavier rain is forecast starting Saturday evening, maybe a little later show than 24 hours ago. And then it should continue through Sunday morning with some of the heavier rain spreading eastward Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. So as we take a look at the 48-hour forecasted precipitation map, everything's starting to come together a little bit more now, with the European model still planting some of the heaviest precip near the Colorado Front Range, east of the Continental Divide and far southeastern Wyoming, as well as the plains of eastern Nebraska, northern Kansas, and much of western and central Iowa and Missouri. This is the forecasted map from the European model. It's pretty consistent with the American GFS model, with some of the heavier precip, and in the past 24 hours, the Canadian model has come on board as well. Now, these precip amounts from the Canadian model likely overdone, but showing a little more consistency as far as timing and placement of where some of the heavier rain and a few thunderstorms will be possible. We're still about 2.5 to 2 days out from this storm system coming through, so things could still change, might track a little more northward or a little southward. As an example, some of yesterday's daytime models were showing more of a southerly track from that system, planting some of the heavier precip more into southern Colorado and Kansas. But as of now, everything seems to be moving back northward, so we'll keep an eye on the heavier precip as it arrives, starting again about Saturday evening into the day on Sunday. As mentioned, it's not looking to be a cold system, but with the energy kind of wrapping around the center of that system, some of the higher mountains of central and northern Colorado, and perhaps even the I-80 summit and Snowy Range Pass around southern Wyoming could get a little bit of snow around Saturday night and early Sunday. The snow level during that time could fall down to about 9,000 feet or so, but you'll likely have to go above 10,000 feet or even higher to see any impact from the snow and any accumulations whatsoever. Then that snow will melt away as we get some warmer temperatures Monday and Tuesday. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. Have yourself a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.